We are back at it again, everybody, and just trucking along through this Black Sabbath album review series. We're here at their fifth album. Of course, we're talking about none other than Sabbath, Bloody Sabbath. And we got a really, really cool looking artwork here. This man in his dream getting, like, killed by demons and stuff there. It's pretty crazy looking. He's got a snake around his throat. Got the 666 on there. Just pretty spooky stuff. Then on the back, you've got him sleeping in like a peaceful dream. So it's pretty cool looking. Really, it's one of my favorite album arts, especially of, from the 70s of theirs. So really, really cool stuff. And as you know, in the last album review, of course, with Volume 4, I was talking about how they just kind of dipped their toes in a little bit of that prog stuff. Well, like I said then, they never really became a full prog band, don't get me wrong, but they definitely experimented with progressive elements, and here they're not just dipping a toe in, they're dipping about half their foot in the waters, because there's some really cool, time changes in, that come out of nowhere, and stuff like that all over here. And you get a lot more keyboards on this album than their previous ones. Come to think of it, it's pretty minimal on the other albums prior to this. Changes, of course, off of Volume 4 as a piano or whatever, but, I'm talking about even in, the heavier songs. So, but with that all being said here, we open it up with the title track, and man, oh man, that's one of my favorite Black Sabbath songs, period. One of my favorite Black Sabbath songs with Ozzy. It's just such a great song. You get that iconic riff here going on that just comes just barreling at you, and then through that you get the really, really very impressive Ozzy vocals here on this record. It's like some of his best vocal work as far as range and such goes. Throughout his career, even including his solo stuff. But then you get to the chorus, which is kind of this breakdown with this acoustic stuff where, there's a prog element right there just out of nowhere. It shifts from that really heavy, iconic riff right to that really pretty sounding and melodic, kind of bluesy sounding chorus. Then, you go back through that again, go through that whole circle into the chorus, and then we get another, a big solo from Tony Iommi, and then a really, really heavy riff near the end there, really, really dark and gritty kind of sounding riff. And this is where Ozzy's got hit some of his highest notes ever. I'm talking he doesn't even do that live. Whenever they play the song Sabbath, Bloody Sabbath, he doesn't do this ending portion because it was just that damn hard for him. But he has it on record here. So yeah, the title track, one of my favorites off here, one of my favorite Black Sabbath songs. And you follow it up with a National Acrobat, and that might just be my favorite off here. And which also makes this just, one of my favorite Sabbath songs. It's got just such a cool kind of groovy riff, and Bill Ward is bringing it on the drums on this thing with some of the weird little fills and stuff in between verses on here. Just an absolutely incredible song, and again you get kind of a shift change at the end there with the guitar, and just a whole time change thing going on there. But the riff in this one is just so hooky, you'll get it caught in your head, and the melody of the vocals from Ozzy, you'll get that caught in your head. It's just a guarantee. Then we get kind of the prettier sounding track on here with the acoustic thing, and instead of it being kind of like a little interlude like it was on, Master of Reality and Volume 4 and stuff like that, you get a whole instrumental kind of pretty piece here called Fluff, and it's really good one, and it just kind of reminds you, kind of puts this image in your head of just flowers and stuff, which really isn't what you would typically associate with Black Sabbath, but that's what they got going here, and it doesn't harm the album in any way. I like it. Not one of my favorite of their prettier songs, but it's still good. I do dig Fluff. Then we end that side one with Sabracadabra, which has got just one of the catchiest riffs they've ever done, which most of Tony Iommi's are, but this one in particular is just super, super damn catchy. Man, if you heard that riff one time, you'll never forget it just from hearing it once. It's that freaking hooky, and Ozzy, is following along with the riff vocally to make that just a classic Sabbath one. That Sabracadabra has been covered by so many times. In fact, hell, I can think of a couple of songs on here that have been covered several times. There was even weird cover. I forget who it was by. The gosh, but it was a kind of a weird Sabbath Bloody Sabbath cover by like this '90s really soft pop group with like a female singer. The goodness, I can't really think of the name of them, but you can look into it and you can probably find it. But that's a cool cover. But anyways, besides the point of covers, yeah, Sabracadabra, just an incredible song. Then you get side two with one of the again, one of the heavier ones off here. I mean, not that these other ones that we've talked about aren't heavy, but we got Killing Yourself to Live. And that one's kind of got a weird effect going on the guitar. Iami's got kind of like a watery effect, which is really cool. And of course, you got the really heavy lyrics, you know, you're only killing yourself to live. And just Ozzy howling through it. Incredible song. That's been one of my favorites off here for quite some time. In fact, it used to be my favorite off here for sure. Then we've got Who Are You? And that kind of starts off a little weird with like a really weird kind of keyboardy thing going on. I could say that one's probably my least favorite off here. That and Fluff, but I do like it. Like, it's got its place on the album. None of these are bad songs. All killer, no filler. But if I had to pick a least favorite, it'd be that one and Fluff. But, you know, it's cool. Just a little weird. You know, it almost sounds like something to be off one of their albums coming up in a couple of reviews here. Technical Ecstasy, which is really an experimental record, but we'll get into that. Then we've got Looking for Today, and I really dig this one. I almost forgot how good this one was. It's got a lot, it kind of follows the same kind of vibe that the title track does. It's got like the whole, you know, kind of heavier thing going on. Except there's really pretty, you know, really pretty like violin and stuff going on in this one. And then I love like the chorus, you know, like, when's the last time that you've cried, you know, and like, just the really pretty acoustic portion going on right there that they kind of throw in. And that's kind of how it reminds me of Sabbath Bloody Sabbath, the title track. Then we end it off with an awesome ending here. Big finale, Spiral Architect. Which that one is just another kind of very proggy track. You see, you know, on the majority of these tracks, they've had some really kind of wacky time changes. You know, really cool different stuff. And a lot more keyboards scattered throughout here. But yeah, Spiral Architect, really cool song. Great way to finish this up. And at this point, I would say, you know, it goes down as a pretty strong closer among the ones we've reviewed so far. Goodness. But yeah, totally, such a great way to end it. You know, it's not quite the big heavy punch you end on like on Volume 4 or Master of Reality. But man, oh man, it literally, it takes you on a spiral and just, oh man, super cool song. Absolutely love it. The time changes and just the vocals. So overall, guys, very solid album. Super impressive vocal work from Ozzy. Again, they're, you know, they dipped their foot about halfway down that, you know, progressive elements. But next album we're talking about, Sabotage, they just about go all the way in there because you got some pretty lengthy tracks with a lot of stuff going on in them. So I'm pretty hyped to be looking at that. And the band were just on fire at this point. You know, coming off of Volume 4, they had this one come out, then Sabotage. This was at a very good period for the band, very peak period for 70s Sabbath. So they were just on a roll, dropping releases like this, and just incredible album. You know, if you haven't heard, like, especially the title track, I mean, man, you are missing out on some classic Sabbath stuff. This thing right here contains some of the best Sabbath material, whether with Ozzy or not on it, just period. So yeah, stay tuned, guys. Next time, you know, we'll be looking at Sabotage, which has got a pretty strange album cover with a backstory that we'll get into. But I'd love to hear everybody's thoughts, you know, on this album because, you know, I hear it mostly praised online and stuff, but, you know, it's not as heavy, I would say, as some of the previous ones we've covered. Probably, in fact, it might be the lightest one yet, but that's not a bad thing. But yes, so let me know what you guys think about that. Like, comment, subscribe, and, you know, stay tuned for next time we talk about Sabotage. Thanks.